Welcome into the Oh Health Yeah podcast, brought to you by Healthy is Wellness. As you all know, our mission is to empower you to take control of your health and elicit a little bit of curiosity in your life when it comes to the world of wellness. Thank you so much for tuning in today, and if you have loved ones or friends that you think would benefit from this, share it with them. Let's get this thing going. Should I track my macros? Should I start counting my calories? Well, technically, yes, but kind of no. But if I want to lose weight, I have to be in a caloric deficit. So do I need to track my macros? Well, kind of yes, kind of no. We're going to dive into it today. It's one of the number one questions in the wellness fitness industry. Do I need to track my macros? And from our perspective, there's times where it may be valuable, but there's also times where I don't think it makes a lot of sense. So we're going to go into when should I track my macros? When should I not? And what do we believe about macro counting? Cool with that?
I think we're going to argue a little bit, but yeah.
Ooh, game on, game on. Okay, so my first portion of this episode, when is it a yes that I should track my macros? The first one that I have, analytical focused individual. Somebody that is it's got to be either black or white. It can't be gray. I'm either in a deficit or I'm in a surplus. I'm either making progress or I'm not. That's the first one that I have where it's like, okay, maybe it's a yes in this instance if you are extremely analytical. What do you got?
That's true facts. That's me, for sure. When it comes to stuff like that, I am very black or white. I am in a deficit or I am in a surplus. Okay. Maintenance is hard.
So you'd agree with that one?
I would.
Okay, sweet. Another one, when is it a yes? When the client feels the need to. The generic, obviously that's a generic answer, but in my mind, I think what's wrong with fitness and wellness is people tell you that you need to track your macros. That is your decision and your decision alone. If you as the client come to me and you say, Gus, like, I want to lose weight. I want to be 150 by my daughter's wedding. When's your daughter's wedding? 6 months. Cool. Well, what do you think is going to help you? I think I need to track my food. Great. I'm here to support you and empower you. If you think that's what's best for you, then hell yes, do it. So this bullet point to me is like, if the client feels the need to, then do it. What do you think?
A caveat that I have about this subject is while I feel strongly about macro counting for a lot of people, when I say that, the caveat is I don't think that every person should do it forever. And sometimes I feel like, and I remember when I started seeing Paige, my dietitian, it's like, yo, just track for like 2 weeks. Mm-hmm. Don't change your diet. Eat regularly for 2 weeks so you can understand what you're putting into your body. It will force you. I really do believe it's the same concept of reading the nutrition label. Mm-hmm. It forces you to eat more mindfully. Mindless eating is a big problem when it comes to obesity. It leads to obesity, boredom, not knowing, not paying attention to what your body. I mean, and you and I can both attest to this. I've counted so many calories. I don't need to count calories. Mm-hmm. I don't need to. I feel like you and I you would agree with me. It's subconscious at this point. Like you could show me just about any food. I know probably within a 10% margin of error how many calories is in the palm of your hand. The chicken, the thigh versus the breast, the beef versus the elk, the fat person. Like you and I both know off the top of the head what the caloric and protein difference is between 80-20 beef and 93-7 beef. It's huge. It's a massive difference. Like you're talking like 80-20 beef, 4 ounces of it, probably like 285 to 310 calories. 93-7 beef, 180 to 210 calories for 4 ounces of it. You know, would you agree with those numbers? Yep. So like, I just think for a lot of people, doing it for a small amount of time so you can gain knowledge. I think knowledge is power. With that all being said, the caveat on the caveat, counting your macros can cause disordered eating, and I'm guilty of it, and I feel like you probably are too. It 1000% can and will cause disordered eating in some people. So that's why I say it's important to have the knowledge, but not become obsessive of it. That's easier said than done. I will pass the torch back to Gus.
Yeah, no, you're 100% right. That's one of the things that I'll talk about when I get to when is it a no. So, what you just said, like, I would agree that no one ever needs to track their calories for their entire life. I would not love that for literally anyone, honestly. Like, I would not love anybody to track their calories for their whole life. But it can be a tool that allows you to get a little data as to what you're putting in your body. And the other thing too to think about is how the people that make our food, the scientists behind this, have made these foods hyper palatable to where even if you think that you're consuming a little, they're so damn addictive. A lot of things are that you don't even realize you're consuming a lot. So
Sugar,
tracking
fat, and
your
salt.
macros for a week can be like, okay, this was really eye opening.
Seriously eye-opening.
I had to have 3 of these and it was X amount of calories. Whereas if I just have one, it's 150 calories, but that one is made to be so damn good that you ain't just having one. It's like the bag of chips thing. Nobody just has one serving of chips.
See, this is the fascinating thing about this subject is I talk about how Healthy Is his approach is a roundabout way of putting somebody in a caloric deficit when it comes to weight loss, right? And I think that caloric deficit, doing what you just said and eating the 3 things and learning how many calories are in it, is a roundabout way of doing all of the things that we talk about Healthy Is. Because if you're a lot of people like quantity, right? Okay, so for example, I just want to analogize this for people so they really understand. So let's say you have 3 McDonald's cheeseburgers. They're good. They taste good. But let's say that each of those cheeseburgers is probably 900 calories on the low end.
Dang,
Probably 11.
calories.
That's 3,000 calories. 3,000 calories for 3 cheeseburgers. Now, Gus, if I gave you free reign in the grocery store and you could use elk burger, how many calories would it be for 3 burgers?
Oh, not very much. I ate like 13 ounces of elk yesterday and it was like 500 calories.
That's what I'm saying. But in the process of doing that, so you could make it hyper palatable, it probably had mushrooms, tomatoes, Swiss. You're coloring your microbiome. You're building your fiber up. You got the protein. You're eating whole foods. You're doing so many healthiest challenges in reverse. So like, that's why I feel like it can be so good to count your calories, even just for a little bit. The other analogy I was going to give, I'm really passionate about this, if you can't tell. I really think like for me, quantity, right? I am someone that really loves quantity. I'm not ashamed to admit it. So I put everything in a salad. And when I say a salad, I probably eat 1 to 2 pounds of lettuce a day, every day, because it's hella low calorie, but it's also really good for you to get that much fiber. The greens, and you're eating vegetables, and I love adding pickled jalapenos, dude. That's been my kick lately. But throwing the peppers in there, putting veggies in it, olives, mushrooms, like you're coloring your microbiome. You're getting vitamin D from the mushrooms, all in the effort. So I feel full. So I don't snack on the hyperpalatable stuff. I make my super dense meal hyperpalatable. But the analogy that I was going to give you is like, everyone that, let's say you live in a certain area. At this point, you could probably drive through Billings without looking at your speedometer and be within a couple miles per hour, right?
Oh, yeah.
You know it pretty freaking well. You've been driving here your entire life. But you would have never known that if you didn't have a speedometer in the beginning.
True.
You know what I'm saying? Not suggesting people shouldn't pay attention to the speed limit, but you can't follow the speed limit if you don't know how fast you're going. Damn, that was a good quote.
Put it on a poster. Add the damn, that was a good quote. Basically what you're saying is when it comes to tracking calories, you can't really know if you're having success if you don't at least know where you're at.
Yes.
what the caloric density is of the food you're consuming.
In regards to tracking calories, yes. Doesn't always mean success, but I do think it's just like, I mean, our motto is the GPS. You got to know where you're at to get to where you want to go.
Yep.
So
I like it. Cool. The last one I have of when it is a yes to track the calories is similar to what I mentioned earlier, but the goal is very clear and they want change. The goal is very clear. Like, I am fixated on being 10% body fat. I am fixated on being 150 pounds by summer. Like, if someone has a very clear and concise goal, I feel like that's where it can be extremely beneficial. And the other thing too that comes to my mind for this is the closer you get to optimizing your health, sometimes the harder it is to optimize that. And that's where the calorie counting comes in. So, like, if somebody's trying to get extremely lean or extremely whatever, that's where it makes sense to me. What are your thoughts?
I think the problem with calorie counting is it doesn't take into account human error.
Oh, and the fact that there's like an 80-20 by the FDA on most food items. They have to be within 80% of the actual caloric amount.
It's 5%.
80-20.
I'm pretty sure it's 5%.
I'll look it up right
Yeah,
now.
look it up.
Go
It's a
for it.
5% margin of error.
All right, let's see.
That's why mustard is 5 calories.
How much of a...
Ding, 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 ding. See, I told you guys we were going to argue.
How much of a calorical error is allowed with foods? To a 20% margin of error. I win.
Cite your source.
Meaning a product with 100 calories listed could legally contain up to 120 calories.
Okay. Okay.
Winning.
Okay.
What were you going to say, though? You had a train of thought going, and then I derailed it. It's based off of the math working.
Oh, human error.
Oh, yes.
So, like, if somebody's goal is so strict, like you said, well, but it's just science. It's calories in or calories out. That, I mean, that's what healthy is the human error. Humans aren't just science. We're emotions, we're feelings, we're struggle, we're loss, we're happiness. And that's the thing is that's the craziest part about food is just like alcohol and even some drugs. You eat at a wake when someone dies. You eat at a party to celebrate. You eat to live. You have to eat 2 or 3 times a day. So you use it to celebrate, you use it to grieve. You do all these things. So sometimes they can just get so convoluted. We don't take that into account, right? I'm not going to lie to you and say that sometimes counting calories gets in the way of life. And if you're somebody that, I mean, the human error part of it is just so big to me. And that's why I agree with you that not everyone should track calories because, what do you think about what I'm saying right now?
I'm about to jump right into it.
Go for it.
So when is it a no? When is it a no to track calories? The first thing that I put on here, and Zach is referring to it, honestly, with what he's saying right now, I put general population. And that's very, very vague. But I would say that the majority of the clients that we see, I don't think the first step on their health and wellness journey is tracking their calories. I think that could be almost too big of a step and too invasive of a step. We talk a lot, and Zach mentioned this earlier, how we use different habits to allow people to find a caloric deficit if that's what they're after. I love the idea of fixating on something that's doable for you and that's realistic for your life. Oftentimes, general population people, the people that we're speaking to the most, that first step of tracking calories can be so damn deep and steep. And it's like, okay, so I got to get a food scale and I got to get an app and I got to figure out like what's in my this. I make a smoothie every morning. How the hell do I know what kind of calories are in it?
Yeah.
So when is it a no? My first one was general population. I don't know if it's the first lever to pull for most people. What are your thoughts? And it's obviously very situation dependent.
You've heard of task stacking, right?
Oh, yeah.
Sometimes people have a lot easier of a time when they can move the needle 3 degrees rather than 1. Mm-hmm. And they see a tangible difference in task stacking, in my opinion. I was talking to my friend Darcy about that just the other day. She was telling me when she eats eggs for breakfast, she does hard-boiled eggs. She'll boil an egg while she's in the shower. So she can just get them both done at the same time. And that just makes it so much more of an attainable step, right? Mm-hmm. So I feel as though when I do agree with you that it's too daunting to have somebody track, especially harshly, right off the bat. But if you can gain them a mastery experience, the perfect example of that for me as a coach is if someone's drinking a 12-pack of Pepsi a day and I can get them to switch to diet soda for the whole 12-pack or even half, that is a massive, and I cannot express to you guys enough how massive of a caloric difference that is. I mean, there's 140 calories in a full sugar Pepsi. So 140 times 12, that's like 1,600 calories, right?
I think it's 1,800.
1,800 calories.
Like that.
So in a roundabout way, you will lose weight if you do those. If you go switch from that to that, cutting out 1,800 calories in a day is a stark difference. But that's without counting calories at all.
Exactly. That's what I'm thinking too. Like
so
in that instance, you're talking to the client about the soda. You're not talking to them about you need to go download an app and track.
Exactly. So if you just do this one thing, you're going to feel hellaciously better from not having that much sugar in a day, which is like, I think there's like 30 grams of sugar in one Pepsi. Think about how much Pepsi, there's 28 grams in an ounce, right? So there's approximately 1 ounce of sugar in a can. Like that's almost 60. A pound of sugar in a day. Is it? In 12 cans. So think about it. If there's 12 ounces in a can.
I have no idea. That's crazy.
Well, think about it. There's 16 ounces in a pound, right? 12 ounces in a can. There's 12 sodas in a pack. So that's, if it was 16 cans, it would be a pound of sugar.
Got you.
But there's 12 cans. So it's 12. It'd be 12 ounces of sugar a day.
Wow.
I think my math. Yeah. Because it's almost 1 ounce per 12 ounce can. Jeez. It's a little bit more. So you're cutting out 1 pound of sugar a day. Yeah. So the mastery experience / task stacking that I'm talking about is we didn't touch calories. We didn't talk about calories at all. But you just reduce your sugar intake by almost 1 pound a day, which is your A1C is going to be screaming better. And you're going to lose weight from it. You're going to see the needle move a whole bunch, and you didn't even talk about calories, but you gained that client the mastery experience.
Yep.
You did something that moved the needle, and it didn't take that. Switching from Pepsi to Diet Pepsi is not that much effort. Sometimes it's hard, and I understand that. I acknowledge that, but it's so that's where I sit with that.
I like it.
And then once you gain those mastery experiences, then you can start to get into calorie counting, even if you even need to. I mean, if you're eating a pound of sugar a day, that might be all the weight you need to lose.
Exactly.
You know what I mean?
Cool. Yep. Absolutely. I'm with you. The next one I have, when it's a no, when calorie counting is a no, I just put busy individuals. I think this is something that stuck with me. Like when we had our 4th kiddo in the house and we were going into labor and having the baby and going to be at the hospital and taking time off of work, the last thing I want to do is be tracking my calories. Like I don't want to be wasting my time scanning my food, weighing my food when I want to be present with the woman that I love and my kids. And I think of that with a lot of our clients, like our CEOs or our kind of the top tier individuals that we work with from a business perspective that are extremely busy. Like oftentimes they don't have time to track their macros or track their calories. So in my mind, when is it a no? When you're busy or you're going into a busy phase of life where other things are the priority. Thoughts on that one?
I have such a bias on that topic. So it's hard for me because like when you don't have time, that's why for meal prep.
True. Yeah. That's a good way to get around it.
Yeah. That's my solution for a lot of people, but sometimes meal prepping isn't realistic for people. So, but I am a big advocate of cost effectiveness, and I really like the new Stouffer's kind of microwave meals. They pretty good macros, decently clean ingredients, and for people that are on a budget, they're like $3 a meal, which is when in all of my meal prepping experience, when you can average your meal between $2 and $3, that's pretty darn cost effective, especially if you consider going to a restaurant. You're paying $10 to $15 a meal without tip for your plate. So those Stouffer's meals, they got really good. Like this one that I've been eating a lot lately is tuna casserole. It's got celery and green beans. Maybe it has green beans. Either way, it has tons of colors in it. Tuna, high protein. I think it's like 22 grams of protein for 360 or 420 calories. Pretty darn good. And for people that are on a budget or on a time constraint, I think meals like that can be very beneficial, a very good tool for people. So, but I do understand that they are ultra processed, hyper palatable, but sometimes you got to do what you got to do. I'd rather you do that than go to McDonald's, right? Every day of the week.
True, yeah.
Every day of the week.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Next one on when is it a no? I put poor relationship with food or triggering. Do calories, do macros trigger you in a negative way? And that could be, there's a multitude of reasons behind that, but it could be that it triggers you in a negative way to where you then binge, or it triggers you in a negative way to where it negatively impacts your health.
Yeah, when you
and your
restrict
mental
too much.
health. Yeah.
Yeah.
So that was my last one on when is it a no? I don't ever want it to be something that negatively impacts someone's overall health and well-being or their ability to be present. What are your thoughts on that one?
It's an easy thing to hyperfixate on.
So
in either direction. I mean, you can, as much as we talk about moving the needle and how important it is, sometimes restricting your calories X amount can cause the needle, we're talking about food, the needle to move so much that it becomes addictive to your brain. It's such an endorphin release that you lost 10 pounds in 2 weeks. So I think my caveat is you listen to your body. If you feel like it's becoming a problem, first of all, therapy, talk to somebody, back off of it a little bit, give yourself grace, because it's not talked about enough how prominent disordered eating has become, especially in this hustle culture, man.
Yeah, both ways though too. Like I remember talking to you about, I think somebody that is 10% body fat and addicted to tracking macros and addicted to exercise,
orthorexia,
is just as unhealthy as somebody that is 99% body fat and on the opposite end of the
spectrum. Binge eating disorder. Yeah.
So it's like, just because tracking macros can help you achieve your goal, it's about the relationship that you create with it and knowing like, is this right for me and is it not? And be honest with yourself as best as you can.
See, that's
in those situations.
That's the interesting thing about like social media and the culture today is some people have expressed publicly that what you just said, yours is much more nuanced, but I feel like some people could interpret what you're saying as glorifying obesity. Some people, not me, absolutely not. I love your stance on it.
Glorifying obesity.
So when I say that, I guess what I mean is like, so just to explain to people, what he explained is orthorexia, hyperfixation on calories, exercise, feeling like you're not doing well without doing those things that are hyper wellness. And the other side of the spectrum is binge eating disorder, super high body fat, eating all the time, your high obesity rates, right? A lot of people would say, well, I would take the person that's orthorexic over the person that's on the other end of the spectrum. Do you get where I'm going with that? Like, I guess what I'm trying to say is some people think that being orthorexic is better than being obese. What do you think about that? Do you think they're just different?
Man, my stance is, this, but my goal with health and any client that I work with, how can we help you be the most present in any moment that you're in? So if somebody, like I said, if somebody's 5% body fat or 99% body fat, who I would argue is more unhealthy is the person that has a harder time being present in the moment and has the distractions.
Okay.
It's like if somebody's addicted to substances, like if somebody's addicted to alcohol or drugs, it's not that they're a bad person whatsoever. It's that they have a relationship with said thing that pulls them away from being present in the moment.
I love that.
And so they're reliant on that thing to be able to be themselves. So I wouldn't say that like it's like the left side of health versus the right side of the health. I wouldn't say that the left side or the right side of health is more healthy necessarily, but what I would ask is who is more present in the moment? Because I know for a fact, because I've been there before, where I'm fixated on my body composition, that is so damn unhealthy. like to the point where you feel uncomfortable in your own skin when you go out in public,
Yeah.
even when you're 5% body fat, the same that somebody that's 99% body fat may have. And so it's like both ends of the spectrum are very different, but at the same time, there's a lot of emotions that they both carry that are similar to each other.
I'll never forget. This was, gosh, two years ago. I was still pretty darn fit, but I had been gaining some weight and I was extremely self-conscious, extreme body dysmorphia. And we had service that day. Everyone had service that day. We were all over the map that day, and we had to go meet with Nick. And I was at Albertsons, and I was getting some sushi and zucchini. I'm a zucchini fiend. Sorry, guys. And I remember you called me, and you explained to me, you're like, listen, dude, like I was telling you how freaked out I was about my body dysmorphia, and I'll never, ever forget how you explained to me that it isn't just me. Mm-hmm. And you did it in a way that was like, it was just one of the most empathetic conversations I've ever had about body dysmorphia with somebody. And you explained to me how relative something like that can be. And even though I had lost 400 pounds, it's just as relative and relevant, my anxiety about my body dysmorphia, as one of my coworkers that's a very small person. They can struggle just as much. Just because, like, from the outside looking in, mine might have looked more profound, bigger weight loss. Of course, my body dysmorphia is bad. That doesn't discredit the body dysmorphia of my coworker that's itty bitty, because they might be self-conscious about being itty bitty, you know? Just like I was self-conscious about being big bitty. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, it's so true. So true. I remember that conversation. And it's crazy too, because so many people just look in the mirror and the way that they perceive themselves is the way that they feel happy or sad or present or not present.
As much as I love social media, and I think it can be great for the world, I think I attribute a good amount of that to social media, but also not. It's so complex.
On your algorithm.
It's so, well, here's the thing. My mom, for example, dude, she has been on both sides of the spectrum. She's a taller woman. She's 5'6". 4 years ago, I shit you not, she was 90 pounds. She looked like she was dying. Just the other day, she's going through a bunch of heart issues now. She's got a lot of swelling and water weight. She's getting a valve replaced. She's probably 160, 170 pounds. Doesn't really sound too overweight, right? She feels so disgusting. I had a conversation with her the other day where I was like, hey, because she said something about being fat. And I was like, Mom, I want you to try something for me, please. And she was like, what? I was like, anytime you have those thoughts about yourself, I want you to think about what you would say to me if I said that to myself. And it was a really nice conversation. But here's the caveat. My mom's never been on social media. My mom has a hard time working a flip phone. Seriously. So is it social media, or are we just using social media as a scapegoat? I do think it can intensify the body dysmorphia and the hustle culture for a lot of people. But you have to look at, like, people from the 50s and 60s. They didn't have social media, but they also hold their bodies to those standards that we do now. So is social media just the scapegoat, or is it just our culture in general that has these unrealistic expectations for people, especially for women? I mean, women have these, you need to have this hourglass. It's like, it's so unfair how judged women are compared to men when it comes to their bodies, especially when you take into account pregnancy. Oh my gosh.
I don't think it's just social media. I think it's the way you were raised too. Like, I think women that, like, I even, with our kids, I struggle sometimes because they'll be like, hey, you got to finish your plate before you leave the table.
Dude, absolutely. That's generational, bro.
Like, okay. Like,
do you need to finish your plate?
As a father, I want you to get your vitamins and minerals from these foods. But at the same time, I don't want you to have a negative relationship with food. And I think with women specifically, if you look at women that are, I mean, any age, so much of success in life and success in health has been dictated by weight,
Yep.
by modern media. And that doesn't mean social media. That means like even look at commercials, even look at the ads back in
True.
the day, like the girls that were on the whatever ads.
It would be so interesting to interview or talk or read something that was before media was a thing, like 1700s, Victorian, 1600s, Victorian times. Like, was it that? It's so, because like you look at culture and the way that different cultures idolize and worshiped people, like the way that the ancient Egyptians worshipped cats, for example, and now they're just domesticated. Like cats were gods. You know what I mean? So like, did being obese back then mean a totally different thing? So it's so complex. It's such a complex issue. It doesn't mean we're not going to dive into it, because we are, but
Yeah, no, it's interesting. It's interesting when you think about the way that people perceive their bodies too.
yeah,
Like the way that you see yourself. And then those pre-nuanced thoughts that we all have in our heads that are based around the way that we were raised, because everybody has those things.
yeah,
Like everybody has those, like, okay, as a man, I need to look strong, or okay, as a woman, I need to be petite. People just assume these things. Whereas if we truly believe that the definition of your health is your ability to be present in any moment, then does it matter if you look buff? Probably not if you're present. Like, you don't need to look like jacked out of your mind to be able to be present with the people that you love.
Fair enough.
Anything else you want to add to this one?
No.
Close it out.
No, I think we could really get into the weeds on this one. I do think we should have a woman on the podcast and talk about her experience and her views on orthorexia, body dysmorphia, stuff like that, and get a different perspective.
We could just do like a whole women's.
Yeah, we should do like a women's
episodes.
month, a month of the year that's dedicated to women guests and women subjects only.
I want to do the dads too. I want to do a dad.
Yeah,
series.
yeah, I like that too. And moms.
Yep. Closing this thing out, coming back to should I track my macros? The question itself, obviously there's nuance. You've heard us talk, kind of debate back and forth a little bit about this. But one of the things that I wanted to leave you guys with, as clients of ours, if you're one of the people that we are able to service on a monthly basis, know that as coaches, we listen to our clients and we do our best to help decide what's best for them. Our job within our wellness sessions is to empower you to take control of every single aspect of your life. And when it comes to something like, should I track my macros or not? Don't be afraid to ask your coach that question. Ask your coach, like, hey, is this what's best for me? And that coach should respond with a question and not a yes or no. If they respond with a yes or no immediately, you need a new coach. They should ask you about your relationship with nutrition, your relationship with analytics, all that good stuff. And then as clients, always keep in mind, is the juice worth the squeeze? Is it really worth it? Is this fixation on macros worth it for you? And is this something you can do in a healthy fashion when we believe that health is your ability to be present in any given moment? Thank you all so much for tuning in. Leave us likes, comments, reviews. We appreciate you all so much and hope you enjoy the rest of your day.